friends, welcome back to Little Monkeys and Me. My name is Fernanda and this is episode 16. Welcome back. If you are a return viewer, thank you so much for being here. I am so happy to be spending some time with you today. Today it is a Saturday, February 5th, and we are, no, not you. I'm coming from North Carolina, where I live with my 3 kids, my husband, and our dog Luna. And I am a homeschool mom who decided to start a podcast. That this is, I've been doing it for a little over a year, and it's mostly knitting. Today is knitting and crocheting, but it's mostly a knitting podcast. But I do dabble on a lot of other crafts. There's a lot of things that I like, and I like to learn many things. So there will be some sewing coming up because there's something I want to make. Not today, but there will be sewing in the future that I will talk about. I do like to crochet once in a while, but knitting is my true passion. So let's go ahead and start. Like always, I start with a little bit of like life update to see what I've been up to in the last month. I usually record once a month. I admire the ones who do it every 2 weeks, but I don't have it in me to do it every 2 weeks. When I tried in the summer, I did not make them any shorter than I do now. So somehow I still managed to talk for over an hour, even though I was doing it every 2 weeks. So it's more of a me problem than how often I record. I just talk a lot. So go ahead and get yourself something to drink. Today I'm just drinking water. I was thirsty, so I just needed water. So this is just water. And I'll talk about this mug in a second. And get yourself comfy, maybe something to knit or crochet. Well, I waffle for probably an hour. Since last time we started school, because I think I recorded right before school started. Like I said, I homeschool my kids. Pretty sure we hadn't started school yet, but school's full on swing, so we're busy, but good busy. I love learning alongside my kids. So to me, even though it is a responsibility and it can be hard at times, homeschooling, it's quite rewarding and really fun because I get to learn alongside my children. We also had our 15-year anniversary with my husband. We've been married for 15 years, and I like to call it our family birthday, because in reality that's when we became a family. Even before children, just the 2 of us, we were a family, and then children came along and made it even more fun. And so it is our family birthday, so we tried to do something all together. That day we did not have school. My husband did not have to work that day, and we just all spent it together, and it was so good. It was just a really good day. We also went with my parents, my husband, and my kids. We all went to Seagrove, North Carolina, which they call themselves the pottery capital of the United States. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but there's over 100 independent potters in that teeny tiny town that it's like only has one street light. So there's a lot of potters, there's a lot of shops. It was super fun. And the craziest thing is that we've lived in North Carolina for a long time now, my family, and we didn't know about Seagrove, but it's less than an hour away from where we live. So you better believe my dad actually surprised us. He wanted us to go on a little like a day outing. So he just told us where to go. We followed him. We were like, when we get to Seagrove and it says left to the pottery something, I started screaming in the car. The kids were like, what's wrong? I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna go and like see pottery. I love handmade pottery. I absolutely, everything about it just excites me. Just talking about it makes me excited. And I had just been talking to my husband that I wanted to bring more pottery items into our home. I was looking for a bowl, like a big bowl that can be used for making bread, or to have like big salads when we have people over, or even ourselves. I wanted a new mug. I was looking for a mug without handles. I wanted literally exactly this. And so it was really fun because you actually get to meet a lot of the potters. A lot of the potters have their own shops that they run. And then there are others who are shops who have many potters, like their work in the shop. So they have them by sections or by colors, and then you can get many different artists under one roof, which is really fun. One of them was half a yarn store and half a pottery shop. I mean, I was in heaven. I did buy some yarn, but I didn't go crazy because I need to have like a project in mind before I do something, so I didn't go crazy. But actually, when I was looking for something like this, and I got to one of the shops, and it was like one of the shops that had a lot of other artists' work there too. I saw this first, and I was like, well, I just kept walking through it. I went back to these because I don't know, it called me. It was exactly what I was looking for. I didn't want a super big one. I use this for like hot chocolate, for tea, everything, and for water. I love it. And I went back, and while I was paying, it's run by a husband and wife, and when I was paying, the wife said, my husband made those, and he was right there. He was actually putting paper all around them, wrapping them up, because I got my husband one. So as you can see, they're the same but different. They're like a bit different colors. This is my husband, this is mine. And I made him choose one, and at the beginning he was like, why do we need another cup? But then he's been using it. He's like, I really like this cup. It's like the perfect size. Can you tell I'm excited? I got a few other things. I'm not gonna show them all, but it was definitely a really good trip. So if you're ever in North Carolina, maybe taking a few hours just to go to Seagrove, it's worth it. There's lots of beautiful things, and supporting small businesses and local artists is just, my heart. So good. So that's kind of what we've been up to. Not lots, but we're done with January, which is crazy to me. There were some days and weeks that felt like forever long, and then some that were so quick, and all of a sudden I'm like, what? We're already in February? How is that possible? So time can go slow and fast at the same time. We had some snow days, and if you live north of us and you think that's not snow, well, for North Carolina, that is snow. 2 inches can do all sorts of things in North Carolina. It stops everything, stops the world, and it's actually kind of fun. Everyone freaks out. Not the freaking out part. I think that's funny. You would go to the store, all the bread and milk is gone, and people freak out. But then we also got ice storms here, and we did get one ice storm that was pretty substantial. The fact that we had ice for days on the roads, the snow that fell. We had frozen rain, then snow, and frozen rain all within the same night. So when you walked outside, you would not make footprints on the snow because it was frozen. It was all, my dog, it was hilarious when she had to go to the bathroom. She was just slide. She was just slide. It was kind of funny, but sad at the same time. Yeah, so we've had some weather. Today it's chilly, but it's beautiful. It's blue skies, Carolina blue skies. Let's go ahead and start. I do have finished objects, and I kind of went crazy with WIPS, and I'll talk to you about that. Let's start with the FOs, and let's start with the one I'm wearing because I am loving it. I've been wearing it a lot since I finished it. This is the Poppy Cardigan by Fox and Folk, and this is a Chestnut that I just finished, I don't know, maybe a week ago or so for Nora. And this is not out yet. It will not be out until probably March because the Chestnut goes until March 1st. And I finished it just really fast I think Nora is very generous with her timetables. I think it started, I don't know, maybe the second week of January, and she gave you all the way until March 1st to finish, which is, you know, a month and a half to finish a sweater. I think it's a pretty generous amount of time. I finished it rather quickly, but that's also me. I'm just crazy. And you all know that already. But let's talk about this one. This one is a steeked cardigan, as you can see. And I did steek it. It does not have any buttons, but I did make buttonholes in the bottom, and I just haven't decided if I really want buttons or not. If you've been here for a bit, you know that I like my cardigans to kind of just hang and just cool me down. If I'm cold, I'll just grab a shawl and put it on top and layer. I prefer that over closing everything up. Like if I want something close, I will wear a sweater, but I kind of like the cardigan of just the ability to just kind of hang there. Though, you know, if you put buttons, you can open it and close it. So it's up to you. I don't know yet if I'm gonna put any buttons. I chose this yarn because I wanted woolly wool, and I have not tried this yarn before. This is Ullcentrum Yarn from Sweden. And oh, I was gonna show you. Look how pretty this is. So I bought, this is huge by the way, but I actually like that how big it is. I bought this at Barnes & Noble, which is a bookstore here in the United States. And this is my maker's journal for this year. I tried last year and I started at the beginning really strong, and not even halfway, I think probably April or May, I was making so many things, and then I wasn't recording what I didn't write down all the specifics of everything I made, that then it was such a big amount of like have to catch up that I never went back and did it, because it just so overwhelming. But the more you wait, it's more things to catch up on, so then it gets to the point that you just don't want to do it because it's just too much. So this year, one of my goals, just one of the things that I really wanted to keep more track of, it is kind of like a handwritten, because I like to keep it, I like the paper, handwritten kind of diary of my makes. And this is gonna hold not just knitting. If I sew something or if I crochet something, is also gonna go here. It's not just knitting, because it is my maker's journal. It's everything I create. I want to put notes and just talk about it. And I understand that because I have a podcast, that is also a form of recording my makes, and I think it's just a different way, so I really enjoy both. So I'm probably gonna do a cutout of what it kind of looks like. I might just flip through some of them, but let me show you what this one looks like. So I don't know if you can see it, but I put the name of the pattern, I put the designer, the size that I'm making, the needles, the yarn, and then I put a section that has notes. I drew out the picture of what the design looks like, and I have like a small printer that I bought a few years ago that does printing, like the pages have a sticker on the back, so I will put a picture, like the finished object picture that I do it. It's gonna go here too, but I kind of wanted to draw it, I don't know, just for fun. And then as you can see, I added pieces of the yarn just to see the colors, the feel, and then I also added the bands, like the ball bands there and there. So yeah, it's very simple. I put the date when I started it, when I ended it. I write who is it for, because I just want to remember who I made it for. This one's for me. So let's talk about the yarn. Like I was telling you, I use Ullcentrum, and this is from Sweden, and it's 100% wool, and it's a 3-ply, and I would say it's a worsted weight. I would say it is less prickly than Lopi, like Lit Lopi, but more, it's less than that, but it's not like, if you touch it, this is not soft, but it's not itchy. Like I have a short sleeve, but for me that doesn't bother me, which is really funny because I have very sensitive skin in other ways, but I can put woolly wools against my skin with no problem. Like I can feel it, but it doesn't bother me, and after a while I don't feel it anymore. So it is very woolly, which I really like. So it's really good for steeking. So if you don't know what steeking means, is that you cut your knitting, but you do it in a way that it doesn't unravel, and you do it in a way you prepare your knitting, usually by either doing a crochet, like you could do a crochet way, or you can actually sew it. I sewed my steek, and then you just cut it and it'll stay. So yes, as you can see, it's called Poppy Cardigan, and it has this flower motif. It's a yoke sweater. You do it in the round, like I said, you do it all in the round, from top down, and which has its benefits. I don't mind either way. I like doing bottom up, I like doing top down. I think both ways are really fun. There's different things that I enjoy from both things. A lot of people like doing top down because you can try it on as you go, which is very true. Compared to doing it bottom up, it's a lot harder to be trying it on, but you can still kind of try it on and see how you're doing. I like that when you do it from bottom up, you can try on your sleeves very easily, because you're usually doing sleeves on their own, and you can make 2 sleeves at a time very quickly and then attach it to the rest of the body. Now when you're doing top down, you can still try it on, you can still try on the sleeves, just kind of a little more, you have to kind of put the whole thing on, or just the sleeve. As you can see, they're flowers. You do a the pattern calls for 3 contrasting yarns, but I couldn't choose, so I bought 4 contrasting yarns. I talked about this last time I showed you the yarn, and I'm glad I did, because the pattern would have the main color behind the flowers here. Like instead of the white, it would be the main color, and you wouldn't have been able to see the flowers like they actually look here. The white obviously makes them pop a lot, and I really like the look of it. The main color, so this is supposed to be a bit cropped, but remember this is a test knit, so it was a bit longer than cropped than what she meant to do, but I actually like it. It's a good size. Let me show you. I would say, I don't know if you can see it, but it goes to my hips for sure. It's not a crop sweater, and which I prefer most of the time. So I'm really happy. I'm happy with the length, and you figure out the length for your sleeves. You can go try it on, then you can get them exactly the length you want. And I like this length. This length was really, this is like the length that I was going for. It is the perfect length for me. It's not too long, because I did make my Maya cardigan with the sleeves a bit long, so I really wanted to make sure that this one was better. And what else can I say? I use a total of 300 grams for the main color, so that was 3 skeins. I have a whole entire skein left over, which is good because I want to make a matching one for my daughter. It is made on DK, but this is like, this on the website says DK/worsted, so I'm pretty sure I can get gauged with this for my daughter. Like when she gets that pattern out, I'll be able to make it for my daughter, no problem, and I will make it work. DK and worsted is pretty close that I can move things around enough that I can make it work. All of the other colors I used less than 50 grams. So I still have more than 50 grams in all of them. The purple is, as you can see, well, it's purple pink. This one is the one that you use a little bit more. So I used a skein and a bit more. So I still have pretty much a full skein of that because I use 117 grams. So I only use 17 grams of the other skein, so I have pretty much a full skein. So I really have, I might have to buy one more ball of the gray just to make my daughter one. But for hers, I can make it pretty cropped too. It doesn't have to be this long. It can be pretty cropped. I don't know. I'll decide whether I want to buy another ball or I can just kind of make it work with what I have. Either way, it's great. I bought this through Fairlight Fibres here in the United States. They carry Ullcentrum, and it was, I would say, it was quite affordable. I mean, it's not super cheap, but it comes with 200 meters per 100 grams, which is a little over 200 yards per 100 grams. And I think they're $9 or 9 something the skein. And I know that may not sound like super cheap, but for 100% wool exported, I don't think that's terrible. You know, I think it's pretty good. And what else can I say about this? I made size D, so I think that was the 4th size. Yeah, D. I'm like trying to think of ABCD. Yep, 4th size. And I use US 8s, which are 5 millimeters for the whole entire thing, except for the ribbons. The ribbon, the color, and the button band, I believe they're in US 7s, which are 4.5. It took me, I don't know, 16 days to do, but I made another sweater in that period of time. So it was a very easy knit. It was fun. The color work's not hard. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about. If you are new to color work and you're thinking, oh, this is gonna be difficult, not a lot of floats. Especially these, like the lines, this is barely any. And then here you don't have long floats to catch, so it's really easy to make. And it doesn't have lots of color work. It has a tiny bit here at the bottom, but it's also very, just like here, it's the very simple one, so it's not hard. What else can I say? I will let you know when this comes out. I am so happy with it. I love cardigans. They're so easy to wear with dresses and to take in and out. When I wear around the house if I'm cold, and then I can just take it off whenever I warm up. And I'm just really happy to have another cardigan in my wardrobe. So that is the poppy cardigan. I will let you know when it is out. If you follow me on Instagram, I will definitely tell you. And then if I remember here, I'll tell you when it's out if you want to buy it. So right now, when I'll probably link, because that's the other thing, I try to link everything I talk about down below in the description box below. And I'll probably just refer you to her Ravelry page. And I know she has a website too, so I'm gonna look that one up in case you can't use Ravelry. And yeah, so that is that. So let's go move on to the other FO that I'm so happy about. And that was the other reason I was like, I need to record because I need to give this to my husband's friend. No, my friend's husband. That's who it is. But he's also my husband's friend, so it all works. Look at this. Let me show it to you and I'll tell you about it. It is the flax. So last time I told you that I usually don't sell my knits, and I really don't. For so many reasons. We can have a whole entire other video just talking about why it is very difficult for us makers who do this for a hobby to put a price on our makes, because it takes so many hours and so much skill that we would never make the amount of money that we actually put into. The price would just be so expensive. But this is for my really good friend, and her husband approached me and asked me to make it as a surprise for her birthday. Obviously he's paying me. He already paid me actually, so I need to give this to him. And last time I made the Weasley sweater for my son, like I told you last time, but it was done in pieces. I did not enjoy the process. I didn't really love the pattern. Like, it's not a bad pattern, but it wasn't super enjoyable. And one thing was doing that for my son very differently is doing it for somebody else that it's not even for me, and like they're paying you for it. So you really want to make sure that it's like done correctly, and you want to at least enjoy the process, which I really did. So this is the Flax by Tin Can Knits, and I will definitely link it below. This is the free pattern. Okay, it's a free pattern that goes all the way from like baby to adult. I'm trying to think how big adult though. It might not be like super big, but extra large or double X maybe. Double L, like double XL maybe. I love this pattern, and it gives you if you're new to knitting, this is a raglan, which means that you're going to be doing increases along this side of both sides of the yoke, which then will become, this side will become the shoulder with the sleeve, and then you keep going with the body. So you do a top down. There's two options. So there's two things that I did that they give you on the pattern. So I wanted to talk about them because I'm actually quite excited at how it turned out. Last time after the video went up, my friend Laura from Penrose Knits, or the Knitting Pickle, she texted me and she DM'd me, and she's like, oh, I saw you're doing the flax. I did it one time and I noticed that the color was really white, but this was years ago. And I was like, oh, thank you for letting me know. I'll keep an eye on that. Then I downloaded it because it is free. You just have to download everything. And it gave you, so I don't know if this is updated from the time that she did it, but it gave you two options. An option of doing the color, so you would cast on all the stitches for the color and then just keep on knitting, which is a very common way of starting a raglan sweater. Most of them do it like that. What happens sometimes is that it gets too wide if it's not done. Like, there are plenty of really good patterns out there that you do start that way and you do not have a wide collar. So, but some of them are. Or I give you the option of starting straight up from the knitting, straight up without the collar, and for you to then pick up stitches. So you would pick up stitches along that cast on edge, and then you would go up and make a collar band. That's what I did. I figured it takes an extra step. It's not difficult. I know some people hate picking up stitches. I don't mind picking up stitches, and it does give it a little bit more structure to the yoke and to the to the collar. So I figured I'm gonna do that. And I mean, I haven't tried this on. This definitely fits a head because I have tried that. My son tried it on actually. It does not look wide. So I really think this is gonna work out. Then the other option that you can also do, so those were the options for the color, and I'm giving you this much information because this is a free pattern, so you can go look at it yourself, though I'm also not giving you anything away like crazy, but it's a free pattern just in case you wanted to know. Then also I talked about doing the option of short rows. Now, for little tiny people, short rows sometimes is really not needed. But for adults, we do have our back side. Usually it curves a little bit more and you need a little bit more fabric in the back. Otherwise, everything's gonna rise up more. And so usually, like in this option, I did the short rows. I wanted it to fit nicely, or a little more nice. You can still have something that will fit pretty good, but depending on the shape of the person, and also some garments, like I made a Ridari for my husband. That one does not have short rows. Both sides are exactly the same and it fits really well. It does not rise up. It doesn't look weird. But then there are other there are other garments out there that without the short rows, you do end up with a weird looking, like when you put it on, it just doesn't fit quite right. So I think if the option of short rows is there, I usually go for it. Short rows are actually really fun. I love making short rows. I think it's really, really fun, and it makes a big difference, I think, at the finish pattern. And so I did the short rows, which I can't remember where it was in the pattern. You would just have to read it. I can't remember. Some people do it after, like before you separate for the sleeves, just go back and forth. Some people they put it in the pattern, like within the raglan. I can't remember exactly when this was, but I did do that. So those are the two optional things that are there. They give you both, you know, starting with a collar, starting without the collar, no short rows with short rows. You can choose, mix and match. I did both of those things, and I think it'll turn out really, really nice. This is Wool of the Andes Tweed from Knit Picks, and this I find to be a pretty affordable yarn. It is, I would have to look up the prices, but it comes in 50 grams balls, and I want to say they are less than $5 a ball, maybe not 100%, but I ended up using in total 450 grams. So the red color is the Garnet Heather, and this color, which I think it's kind of gold, but it's called Olive Heather for the bee. And for that one, I didn't even end up weighing how much that, but I only bought, I bought 2 balls, I don't know why, of the olive color, but I used not even half of one. So I still have some more, which can go into another project, but in total I used 450. So, you know, it's not a super expensive project if you want to go with something that is a little bit cheaper, but it's 100% wool. Well, wool and a little bit of Donegal tweed. So it is really good. It's Peruvian Highland wool. So if you use Peruvian Highland wool, you know that it's actually really soft. So it is, I think, a great thing to give to somebody who is not used to prickly yarn or who can't handle it, because to me it's extremely soft. You can't, there's no age factor. I did finish all of them with tubular bind-offs because it'll just look so nice. It just looks really nice. The bottom takes forever because you have, for a tubular bind-off, you have to, it's so long. You're just pulling and pulling because you have to have at least 4 times the circumference. Like, that's how much long the tail has to be. So you have quite a bit, but the look of it is just so nice. And especially for something that I was gonna give to somebody else, I wanted to make sure that it looked really, really nice. The good thing of that is I don't have to look at a tubular bind-off tutorial anymore because I have it memorized. That and the Kitchener's toe. Now by this point, the Kitchener toe took me a few times, and then or Kitchener stitch took me a few times. Now I have it completely memorized. Now I do have this one memorized, which is really fun. After a while, it's just a rhythm, and I can read where I'm at, so I don't have to, like, because before it would be like, don't talk to me, I have to concentrate. And so doing it a lot, it has my tag. Doing it a lot, it helps. And I can't say enough. I mean, she hasn't tried it on, but he did sneak. That was hilarious. Like, he gave me one of her sweaters without her knowing, and I had it for a few days. I measured everything, and then I compared it to the pattern, and that's how I figured out which size to make, which was the medium large. And she's actually quite a petite person, but he brought me one of her favorite sweaters. And I took measurements from that finish object, and I looked at the measurements of the finish objects, like the final measurements that they give you for the flax, and with that I was trying to fit under the medium large. So she likes it, she wants it a little bit more boxy and a little bit more with more room. It should fit. All the measurements are there, so I'm just that at this point, that's what I'm super nervous about. It's the fit. Is it gonna be good? But I'm so happy with it. It looks so nice. This yarn knits up really nicely, plus tweed. I just love it. And if this doesn't remind you of the Weasley sweater from Harry Potter, then I don't know what else. It's like the perfect color. So I am so happy for her, and it's gonna be a surprise, and her birthday's coming up on the 9th. So, and I don't think she watches this podcast, and if she does, act surprise. Then I think you know who you are. I just ruined your husband's whole entire surprise. So I'm sorry. So that's the flax. So I made 2 sweaters in January, and I finished that one in 4 days from start to finish. And the flax, the reason why, it's because that was our first snowstorm, which was more like an ice storm. We didn't go anywhere. Church was canceled that weekend. We had something else. Everything got canceled. We were in for days. John, my husband, didn't have to go to work. So we were in for days, like literally 4 days of full on knitting, which was perfection. I mean, I don't love winter. I'm tolerating winter now, which is a huge improvement from my side. But I guess this is a good thing of winter. Like, everything kind of shuts down for a few days and then you just go back to normal. But it was like so nice, and I got so much knitting done. So it was done from the 14th to the 18th, completely done. Anything else I want to tell you? No, I think that's it. Okay, so let's move on to my sons. These are for my oldest son. He's 11, but he wears a size 7.5 or 8 men. He's tall and big, so, which it's hilarious because neither of my husband and I are tall, but he's always been big. He was born huge. He was 10.5 pounds when he was born, in 22 inches. So he was a 1 month old. A 1 month old came out of me. So totally, so much information. I made these socks for my son, and he wanted, well, he picked this yarn last summer, I think. And then I made him other socks, and I made other things, and I always knew I had this for him at some point. And he was gonna go camping last weekend, but then we had another snowstorm, and like I said, here things kind of fall apart. We don't have enough snow plows to clean the streets, and they were gonna go as a youth group. So the leaders were all, which my husband's one of the leaders in it, they were like, well, you know what, some of the youth are gonna drive themselves, it's not really safe, we need to take care of the kids, and what if we get stranded in the middle of nowhere? So I had to postpone it. But I did work really fast on these because I wanted his feet to be nice and toasty, because these are Kroy socks from Paton, and Paton's Kroy sock, which it's supposed to be a fingering. I always say it feels more like a sport. It is not fingering. It's a lot more toothy, which is really nice. It smells more woolly, and it feels really like they're really cozy. They're really cozy. They're very woolly feeling. They are still sock yarn, but they're a little bit thicker than, I would say, a fingering weight. And this colorway is called Turquoise Stripes, and I try to make it match as much as possible, but I think they match pretty well. Because, you know, there's like a bunch of different like blues and teal colors. It was like impossible to be able to pick exactly when the next one was coming. They're somewhat random, but I think they look pretty close, and he loves them. He hasn't worn them yet. I did not block them because I literally finished them like the night before he was going to go on the camp out. So I wasn't going to block them, and he was going to wear them for the camp out. So then they got, you know, canceled, and I still haven't blocked them. He'll wear them for the camp out, but I wanted to show them to you before they're worn. They are going to be nice and toasty. I do like Patons. They sell them by 50 grams balls, and I buy 2, and I have enough to make a pair for myself, my husband. I mean, like 100 grams is enough for me, and enough to make for my husband and for my son. Now I can make from 1 ball, I can make some for my youngest son, and I think also my daughter, I think I can make. So if you just want somewhat, we don't have very big feet. Like the foot, this is the vanilla sock recipe that I do for my son. Actually, I wrote it down here, so I kind of make a little drawing, and I wrote it down. I've got a little bit of the yarn, and I make the foot 60 from the gusset. Like when you pick up stitches from the gusset up, I do 60, which is the same for me. And then you do the toe. My husband is 70, so we don't have huge feet, but you know, just if you want a reference of like how much yarn to get. I did it in 2.5 millimeters, and yeah, they are great. They fit him perfect. So that's number 3. And the last finish object that I did are socks for me. They're my January socks. So last time I told you that I really wanted to work from the 52 weeks of socks. I did not do that. I was like, that was my idea, but then I was test knitting, which you have to pay a lot more attention than just when you're knitting a pattern, because now you're trying to catch mistakes, and you need to, I mean, her pattern was great, but you have to pay attention. It's not just grabbing a pattern and going. And then I made another sweater, so I was kind of busy making that, and then I was making this, and then I realized it's only a few days. Like it was the 26th of January, and I was like, oh, I need to make my January socks. I really did not want to do something that required too much thinking, and definitely not the one that I picked. The pattern that I picked was a toe up, and I've only done 1 time toe ups, and that was many years ago. I didn't really love it, so it was a whole new technique for me. It would be a lot more like learning and figuring it out. So I was like, that is not what I want to do right this minute. So there was a pattern that I had bought that I really liked, and it's this one. There they are. So these are the winter Ponche socks by hand knit by Cam. Her name is Carmen. She's from Mexico, and I actually met her in a knit night that I did with Blush Yarns. Natalie from Blush Yarns and Carmen was there, and we met. So we become a little bit of, I mean, I consider her somewhat of a friend. I don't know if that's too stocky to say, but you know, I consider her my friend. We're friends now. We've talked. That's all it takes to be friends with me. If you want to be my friend, just talk to me and we'll be friends. So yeah, so these are her Ponche socks, winter Ponche socks, and I loved them. So the moment I saw her pattern, I bought it when it came out because I really liked it. It has, as you can see, these are not blocked. I put them on blockers, but I never blocked them, so that's why they're, but I want to show you what it looks like, the front looks like. Let me show you. Yeah, so there's like 3 cables. This pattern has yarn overs, cables, but a very simple cable. It has some slip stitches, so it is fun, but it is very easy to remember. I only had to look at it at the very beginning, and then I memorized it, and then I did the numbers that I like. Like in the pattern, the leg is much longer, but I like a shorter leg, so I only did the repeat twice because it was this 16 pattern repeat, and I like a 30 leg, like 30 round leg. So this one ended up being 32, which is fine. I did do the 10 that it said to do for the cuff because I wanted it to look kind of like what it did in the pattern. But usually I do 20, but it's okay. I just did the 10, and then I did my Eye of Partridge heel because look how cute that is. Oh, I just love how that green looks, and it's oh, there was a fuzz. How hope you can see it. I hope I'm pointing at it right. This was it's a tonal, but it has a little bit of different. I love that look. I love a tonal, like if it's that hand-dyed. I love a tonal that has a teeny tiny bit of like lighter and darker, like a tiny bit of variation, like barely anything. Because for me, tonals are my favorite. So yeah, so this one was, just, I love that because there's a tiny bit of light green and a little bit of darker green. And so this was an excellent pattern. It comes with 3 sizes, I believe, and I did the medium size, which is the 64 stitches. I don't remember what her recommended needle size is, but I did the one that I always do because I know what that's gonna fit. Like once you start making socks, you know that if it's gonna be 64 stitches, I'm gonna do a 2.5. Now, if it's gonna be a bigger, like if I test knitted and they want a 2.25, then I won't do 64 because that will be too small for me, but I will do the next, probably a 72, I think is the next one that it usually goes to. So I know that that would work for me. Now, now that just depends on your gauge. So if you are used to using 2.25s and 64 stitches, then go with that. Don't remember what she used in the pattern. It was like I said, super easy pattern, very easy repeats. After a while, I didn't look, so it almost felt like a vanilla sock, but a little bit of interest. The yarn, let's talk about the yarn. The yarn is, I made a little picture so you can see here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Hope so. So I made a little picture of but here's the yarn. So it's from Edelweiss Fibres. So last September, my friend Ode from Bubbles and Berries, she makes she makes bags and she hand embroiders them. They're beautiful. And she and Edelweiss Fibres had a festive, I think that's called, festive sock set where she made like a Christmas tree, well, a beautiful pine tree with snow. And then there was this sock set that came with it. I still have a good amount, so I can make, they're my daughter. I haven't weighed it, so I don't know exactly how much I have left, but it could be a whole nother pair. Just what I kind of love about getting hand-dyed yarn, that with 100 grams for me, especially if it comes with a mini, I can probably get 2 pairs out of them. So this came together with the bag, and I pre-ordered it last September. I got it in November, and it's one of those things that I wanted to make for Christmas, but Christmas, I mean, I was making lots of other things, and I did have a lot of Christmas yarn that I'm gonna go through the year and kind of like sprinkling Christmas and festivity through the year, which I'm kind of happy about. I think I'm gonna keep these as as Christmas socks, so they're gonna go in my Christmas box, which I didn't bring, but I did buy. We have a store here, Joanne, that sells like fabric and yarn, and then decorations for the house. Yeah, so there's like a little bit of everything, and crafty things. They have like paper and like crickets and like all those things, but they always have like a section of like whatever the holiday is, and they have like really pretty Christmas boxes. And I saw them and I wanted to buy them like before Christmas, and they were, even before Christmas, they were on sale. But then I went the other day with my family and they were like 75% off or 70. I paid like $5 or $6, yeah, like $5. So, and that's what I'm gonna start storing all my Christmas socks, because I want to have like 25 pairs, and these are gonna be part of it. So I'm not gonna wear them now. I will save them for Christmas time. And I loved it. It is lovely, lovely, lovely. The cuff though, I did it in a different color. It's this one, because I always get nervous. I don't think I've ever weighed, like when I do minis, I definitely would have had enough to make a cuff, heels and toes in that green, but I wasn't sure, so I got a little nervous and I didn't do it. So I had this mini, and this mini was from, if you remember, a few episodes ago, I talked about row 4. Is that what they're called? Oh my goodness. well, it's a subscription. They gave me like to talk about it. So this was gifted to me. And this is actually from the Red Pansy, which is a hand dyer, indie dyer. And this is called Morning Dove. So I just went through them because it came with 10 minis. And it really went, I mean, as you can see, it goes really close to one of the colors here. I kind of wanted that. I wanted the low contrast on the top because this was pretty busy, and then the contrasting. And I think that turned out really good. And I still have more, which I'll tell you later what I'm going to use it for. I'm kind of excited about scraps because I'm going to talk about them. So those were my 4 finished objects. I think that was pretty good, but then I started casting on a bunch of things. So it's not like I only made that, because I also added 2 other projects, and then I cast on more projects. And I don't know who I am. There's a lot of WIPS that we're going to go through. So let's go ahead and talk about them. Move to WIPS. We do have a winner for our last, like the podcast anniversary / my birthday that we were doing last time. So the winner is this person, LL Bird. And so please contact me. You can send me an email. My information is down below. It's littlemonkeysandme@gmail.com. Or if you follow me on Instagram, you can DM me there. So please contact me. It is a bag and a, let me go get it actually. So this is what you win. It is this yarn from Felicity Yarn Studio, and this bag from Noble Character Crafts by Emmy. So please contact me, and we will leave it until next episode. And if I haven't gotten anything from that person, then I will do another person. So that is, now let's move on to WIPS. Let's move on to WIPS. We have lots of them, so we're gonna go through quick, I think. Well, I'm probably not gonna show them all, because, and I'm probably not gonna say tons, because some of them I didn't do that much, because when you start casting out a bunch of things and you're making 2 sweaters, it kind of uses up your time to knit up. But I did want to talk about this one. Last time I was all the way here in the middle. No, I wasn't. I was here, right there. So I was halfway through the lace section. So this is the Spicy Candy Shawl by Maria Jesus Camus. And this is the Chilean designer with a Chilean yarn. If you want to hear more about it, I talk extensively about the yarn and everything in the last episode. And I started the lace. I mean, not the lace. The mohair section. So this main part is held mohair and the main color together. The lace section, it's just the fingering weight. And then this one that goes behind it, so it's when it stands, it's gonna go, it's just the mohair, and it's gonna be roughly, and when this is down, it's gonna come down to here. So it's gonna be longer. So you're gonna be able to see all three things. So this is actually, I'm going to the point now where it's a lot of stitches. It's like over 600 stitches in mohair. But if I sit and knit, which I've been doing lots, it is because now I'm on the 6th book of the book series that I'm reading, which is the Throne of Glass series. If you are interested, you're probably sick of me talking about it, but I am obsessed. You can read and knit or watch TV because it is just stockinette. So that last bit with the mohair is just stockinette, which I don't mind purling, so it's kind of fun. So that, and this one is in my bag that I made myself. Me made bag, one whip now. Then let's talk about this whip, because I'm probably gonna have more to say about this one. If you know, I'm housing it in my Blue Rabbit house. Yeah. Oops, sorry, the Blue Rabbit house. Yep, this is my Chestnut. So if you know, I casted on the Chestnut, I think last September or October, and this is by Marie Wallin. It is on full, it's gonna be a cardigan, and it's done in pieces. So that means you're knitting flat, and it's all color work. The whole entire thing, all color work. So let's talk about how much I have left. Well, or how far I've gone. So you knew, because I showed you last time, we had the back. We have a whole entire back. This is like the neck, the back, the back. That was done already. Then I took out the progress keeper because I was thinking of actually, and I'm gonna do it now, but I didn't want it to be wet, but I was going to block them because I weaved in all the ends. So this is going to be the left front, and it's all done. So last time we talked, it was like right here. The progress keeper was like right here maybe. Then I finished the whole entire thing, and I weaved in, this is just to hold on those live stitches. I weaved in all the ends of this. I weaved in all one side of the Chestnut. This one still has a lot of weave to ends. I mean, ends to weave. You don't have to weave them all, but I kind of enjoy weaving ends, and I wanted to just kind of have it all nice so then I can block it and it can like sit flat. Because then when you sew it together, it needs to look nice. And then I cast on the right, and I already did a whole, so from here to here, from here to here is a whole pattern repeat. So I did a whole entire pattern repeat, and then I'm gonna do another one. And so for reference, I'm like right here. So I still have, you know, a whole entire bit more, but it is a joy, and I can do this while watching TV with my husband. I set it up on my phone, and I have my phone set up. I zoom in to the section that I'm at, to the line that I'm at. So my phone, the bottom of my phone, if that makes any sense, it's to the line that I'm at, and I zoom in quite a bit, and then I put stitch markers dividing like pretty much every 10, because in the pattern it's divided by every 10 like chunks or so, and I do it here, and then I slide my phone every 10. I just look at the 10 pretty much, and I slide it and move on. That's how I can stay, and I have like these ones I bought through Amazon, and I think I bought a pack. I bought 3 like separate, and then I bought a pack of 4, and now all my projects have like stitch counters or row counters, and this one specific for this pattern, it always stays here, and so I know exactly where I'm at. You can read your knitting too, but I like knowing exactly where I'm at, so I just go click. And so mentally, like, people are like, they see this and they're like, oh my gosh, that has to be so hard, it's so much work. And even though it is work, because it's knitting, I take it one stitch at a time, one line at a time, 10 stitches at a time, and in all reality, it just flies by. I can be watching a show with my husband, checking what I'm doing, okay, check it, move on to the next, another 10 section, another 10, all of a sudden you're done with a whole row, click, turn it around, and you keep on going. You have to catch some floats, not a whole lot. It is not very hard. I really recommend this pattern. The only thing I have to say, Marie Wallin, the way that she writes her patterns, the wording, it's not very clear. So you have to, that's when I move on to a section of like decreasing, I'm like, put pause, I need to actually concentrate for a second, or I need to, if it's too late, then I'm like, I need to look at it tomorrow morning, because it is weird. I mean, obviously I can't give you an example because it's a paid for pattern, but it is, I can think of a lot of other ways of explaining what she said in like very few words. and you have to read a few times to be like, okay, what is it that she really means? And it helps to read the whole section first, because sometimes she puts things at the end that should have been like in the middle of like what you're doing. So that's the only thing. So if you're a very, very beginner knitter, I probably wouldn't go with this. But at the same time, this is not impossible. You can figure it out. Just take a few more minutes and read it and it will be okay. I'm all for like going for it. You might get a little frustrated, but you know, I'm not telling you if you're like just beginning, go for it. But if you really want to, what's stopping you? I mean, at the end of the day, unravel it and you can work it. I mean, but the only problem is that with this, you are cutting your yarn, but it is 100% wool. I'm using Jamieson Smith, and you can split splice this together. So, I mean, if you want to do a million splits to put it back together, I'm not saying you have to be a very beginner, but what I'm saying is you can do it. If you really want to, you can do it. It's not super duper difficult. It just takes time, but I really think if I wasn't working on anything else, this would have been done in a month. Probably in a month, for sure in a month. I could have done this in a month, but you know, I'm enjoying it so much. I enjoy being able to just pick it up, do a few inches, leave it, go back to something else. It has just been really fun. So after that, I have no idea what you do. I haven't looked ahead. Plus, even if I did, it probably wouldn't make any sense. Why how she, I think you do the sleeves after. So that's what's been housing this one. I'll have to put it up later. Next WIP. Let's talk about this one. So last time I showed you this bag. This is what that houses my my advent that I got from Blush Yarns, and it is Mountain State Stitches. Yep, the person who made the bag, which I love. It is like the perfect size bag, and it is gorgeous. I love the inside. The inside makes me happy every time. It is Christmassy, but at the same time more like wintry, so I can use it longer. And it has all my advents. I started, I think it was called, what was it called? Because I'm not doing it anymore, so I have no idea. Skyline wrap. I don't know if, I think some of you did get it, because some people were like, you don't sound very excited about that wrap. And it wasn't. I wanted, because of all the other things that I knew was going on, like I was test knitting, that I needed to make a whole nother sweater, and I'm working, you know, in something like this, and I was also halfway through the lace of the shawl, the spicy candy shawl. I really wanted something that I didn't have to look at a pattern and I could just go. And it's funny because this is exactly what I thought of doing the very first time, but I tried something else, and I tried the Skyline wrap, and I actually then finally cast it on what I always wanted to from the beginning. And well, cast it on is not, because it is crocheted, so hooked, chained, I don't know. So let's talk about what this is. It is a granny stripe. What did I do with that? It's a granny stripe blanket with all my minis. I don't know what I did with my hook. I always put it in here. Well, I'll tell you what hook it is, because I did write it down. Okay, but let's look at it, because I'm just in love with it. So this is day one. I chained 300 stitches, and I am using, because I wrote it down. Look at this. I am actually up to date with all my my WIPs on my makers. And I've taken photos of all my finished objects and I'm putting them on Instagram. I took pictures of the socks that I made. I'm gonna put it up maybe today. At least I made with my goal for a month, which is great. It's a 3mm, and I'm using the tulip. It's like pink. What did I do with it? I know that you probably like, Fernanda, just get on. Nobody cares that you've lost your hook. It's here. I always put it in my pocket, and little pockets inside. It's a tulip. It's size 3mm, which is a 5. As you can see, it's a pink, actually very comfortable. I crochet toys, which are done with cotton, and that always hurts my hand. So that's why I bought this, because thinking, oh, it will be more helpful, and it does help. Now this is done with fingering weight, merino. My hands don't hurt. This is so nice. So I cast around 300 stitches. It's a nice big size. It's definitely gonna be like one person, or like you like squish together, like 2 people can maybe go under it. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm on day 14, I think. And it's this gorgeous green color. I'm doing them in order. I took pictures of every day, so I know which day is which. And this has been a delight. I can knit this without looking. Not as well as one like knitting without looking, but I can do pretty well. I can read and crochet this. So even though it's my scrappy like Sunday project, my hands have been itching for it. So I pick it up during the week too, and I do 1 or 2 rows, because you know each row takes a while because it's long. But then you just want to do the next color. I'm doing 3 stripes per color, but then I'm still having leftovers. So I'm having about 7 grams left over. If you remember, I made my 24 days socks by Potter and Bloom with my advent, all 25 colors, because you only use so little. I actually weighed my advents, like the balls, and they were still 20 grams. They're 20 grams skein, like little mini skeins. Obviously sometimes they give you a little bit more. I never weighed them at the very beginning without using them, so it might have been like, I don't know, but my guess is that those few stripes that you do in the socks, barely used any, that you pretty much have a whole entire 20 grams. It's going in here, and then I'm still having 7 grams left over, which I don't know yet. Like, I'm not doing any pattern. I don't care. Like, I'm doing 3 now. But I'm also going to add other colors. It doesn't have to be just my advent, because obviously it's not going to be big enough for a whole entire blanket with just the advents. But yeah, I am loving it. And this is going to be a scrubby project, which is a long-term project, which I don't mind. And I actually enjoy knowing that it's there and it gets worked on whenever I feel like it. So that is for sure. I'm so happy with this. Every time I work on it, I'm just in love. So I know that that's gonna stay that way. I'm not gonna show you my catkins, which is a sweater that you do bottom up. I think some people thought it was a shawl, but it's a sweater. I don't know if you remember, it has like lace. I'm not gonna show you the whole thing, because I did about 3 inches, but it's like the same as before. But I did want to show you the bag that's in. So I went ahead and bought this bag, which has a cone in it. That's why it's like kind of a lot, but if the cone fits, look how pretty that bag is. So if you've been watching me from the very beginning, around the same time that I started, we became friends afterwards. We didn't know each other before. Sewrella Yarns, Mia, it was her name. She stopped. There were some personal things going on in her life. So she kind of stopped doing the podcast, and then she wasn't really active. But a few weeks ago, or a month or 2 ago, she popped in, and I noticed that she was making bags. So her company, and her daughter are making bags actually. It's called Sweet Acorn Creations. Yeah, Sweet Acorn Creations. And it's a pretty good size bag. So when her shop went live, I went ahead and bought this one, because it just, I love this color. It's like pink. I love this color. It has one big pocket. If you can see, I don't know how much you can show, but one big pocket, and then on the other side it has 2 pockets. And it comes with a little ring that you can open shut, and you can hang progress keepers, a little scissors, whatever you want out here. And it comes with this. Super comfy. I like it when they have like small, because you can walk and knit or just carry it around. And just a drawstring. And I know it's so hard because of the cone. So I bought this one. she graciously sent me the other one, which is this green that I love, and she sent one for you guys. So whenever I do another giveaway, which I don't know when, but whenever, this is going into the prices box, sorry, some fluffs on it. So it's a good size, and it's like hard canvas, so it's really sturdy. Oh gosh, just threw it. Really sturdy. There's another table there, so I didn't throw it on the floor, just so you know. I just wanted it over there, but it, yeah, so it's very sweet. Thank you so much, Mia. And so yeah, so we have one for you guys if you want. This one is housing a new project, another cast on that barely has anything in it. Another one of these. Has a bunch of things, but almost nothing done. But I wanted to show you that I casted it on. Casted it on? Yeah, maybe. This is something that I've been wanting to, I said that it was on my wanting to make, I think last year when I talked about some like dream knitting. I think this is ridiculous. You're probably like, why are you even showing us this? This is like so dumb. It's a ribbon of a neck. This is neck of a sweater or a tee. It's the seagrass tee. I know a lot of people are making the sweater. I know Kay from the Crazy Sock Lady is making the sweater, but that one is done with like DK and worsted. And even though I do have a lot of scraps of fingering, I don't think I have enough to be like holding everything double and still making a whole entire sweater. So, and I always wanted to make the tee. I always wanted to make it with fingering weight. And that was always my plan. And I had it from last year, and I kept saying, okay, I'm going to cast it on, and then I never did. And I also didn't have the eggs big enough. So, but now I do. So I have a bunch of like, I mean, this is not even a mini. I have lots of like leftovers from different things. And I'm gonna just put it all in. I am not doing, I think some people, they do like a main color that goes with, and you kind of alternate and you put it all with the other, with all the other scraps. Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. Choo, choo, choo. Oh, I'm sorry. And I think Kay is doing that. She has like a main color and then she's doing scraps. I'm just gonna do it all completely random, and I think that's so freeing, and I'm so excited. I'm not really gonna plan it. Obviously, I'm gonna grab two colors and, you know, make sure that they kind of go together. Like, you want somewhat of a contrast, but I'm not gonna, like, it's gonna be random. It's kind of like my blanket. I mean, obviously I'm doing that one in order, but after that, it's gonna kind of go random. Whatever's left over from this is gonna go to that. And I think some of those minis are gonna go into this. I think this is like so fun. If you think I'm crazy, that's okay. That's okay. Now, the last one, I do have a little bit more of this one. Now, Rebecca from the Kroy podcast. Now, I'm so nervous because of you now. Now, I finally, this is one that I've also been wanting to make for a while. It's a Musselburgh hat. Did I say it right? In my defense, English is not my first language. So this is the beginning of it. As you can see, this is for my husband. Musselburgh hat by Ysolda Teague. Ysolda Teague. And I think I'm saying it right. I think it's Musselburgh. Yeah. And I'm sure you've heard all about it. I'm using this color. It's like a deep green, petrol green. I got this one on the oopsie sale that Sewrella Yarn did. Sewrella, they did it back in, I want to say December. Yeah. No. January 1st? No, December. Yeah. It was like sometime in December. They did an oopsie sale. And I got 4, and I asked for tonals this time around. I think I always ask for tonals. And I got 2 colors of the same, which is great, because then you're like, I don't know, I don't think I'm gonna need 2 of them, because my husband doesn't want a super slouchy one, but I ended up doing this color just in case, though you can do 2 different colors and one can be for the inside and one could be for the outside, so it's really not a problem. But he wanted green and I had green, and I have other 2 greens that are really cute because they sell them by 4s. So this is the beginning. So now I'm like to the point that I already did all the increases. I'm doing fingering weight, and I mean, if you have the pattern, then you know that you don't do a gauge swatch. You just knit about an inch, like enough, like 1.5 inches, so you can actually count your stitches. And with that, it tells you what to do next. Like if your gauge is, my gauge is 7, then you need to knit these many repeats and these many increases. Like that's how it goes. So you can actually use this pattern with almost any size yarn. Like you can do it with so many different, it doesn't have to be just fingering. You can do decay, sport. Yeah, I don't know if anybody has made it with worsted because it's just a lot more, but yeah, so that's how much. So now I'm doing a magic loop because, oh, and I'm doing 3 millimeters. No, 3.25. So these are US 3s. And I like the gauge that it's given me. Like you can probably see through a little bit because there's like light, but you know.
Is there something else?
No. By the time you know that this, like, it's gonna be a tube, so then you put the other side inside, so it's gonna be like double. It's gonna be great and nice and cozy and soft. And this is like my kind of tonal that has a tiny bit of variegation to it. Let's hope that you can see, which is like my favorite thing. Tiny bit of variegation with a tonal, and I love this color. My husband loves it too. And this is housed in my knitted Soiree bag. I can't remember, she made this one for me, and she called it Mrs. Weasley's bag, knitting bag maybe, because she I met her, Mrs. Weasley. She says I'm a witch because I knit so fast. I love Jen Lee. She's my friend, and she is doing this really cool thing that every month she's coming up with a specific pattern bag that is specific for that month. So if your birthday is that month, you can go buy that one. It's like the birthday bag for the month. She just announced the February one, which is really cute, I thought. But now I have to wait 10 more months until I can see the December one, but it's okay. It's okay. Her bags are really, really cute. They're perfect. I mean, I can fit 2 skeins perfectly in here. They're perfect for socks, for like a one or 2 skein shawls fit perfectly in here. So yeah, so those are my WIPS. I think those are it. I'm sorry if I went super fast, but I noticed that I already, just from my FOs, which were only 4, I talked for like an hour. So I just didn't want to bore you to death with all of this. And I just want to show you an acquisition really quick. This one, so that pottery / yarn store, about this one, just a lovely like pinkish red. It is beautiful, and it's from Araucanía Yarns, and these are hand dyed in Chile. If you don't know, I'm originally from Chile, so I'm from Chile, and these are dyed there. And this color is called Itata Solid. Itata is a river, and so they try to also name things by like areas or like things from the country. So it's individually, each one is different. It is a product to support local sustainable job development, create a new generation of skilled artisans in Chile. So each hank sold means more opportunities, more jobs, and more hope. So I thought I had to get this, and I believe this. So this is a 70 superwash wool with 15% silk, 15% bamboo. It's 430 yards per 100 grams. This can be anything. It can be a shawl. It can be socks. It can be a hat. So many things. So I had to buy this. And then the other thing that I had to buy, no, I didn't have to, but I did have to buy this. This is Noro. And my local yarn store here in like my city, they don't carry Noro. There's like 2 of them here. Neither of them do. It's a little more expensive, but this is 200 grams. So it is like buying, and it's 400 meters. So it is like getting, you know, 4 skeins of yarn instead of just 2. And I have planned for it. I'll show you when I cast on, but I just wanted to show it to you. Look at those beautiful colors. So, the last acquisition that I want to talk about, it is candles, actually. I found this maker, this small business. It is a mom who stays home with her daughter, her son, and her name is Claire. And the reason why I found her is that in one of my homeschool, like one of the people, like in my personal account that I follow, homeschool account that I follow, she was doing a giveaway. And it was this smell that is called Story Time. And the smells are like, the smell is library, lemon drop, and snickerdoodle. And it is, I can't explain it. I love the smell so much. It's actually what's burning right there. I bought 2. So I got that one for free. Then I bought another smell, I can't remember. And then I went ahead and ordered 3. I got a Hufflepuff one, which smells divine. It smells like almost like custard, like sweet custard. I can't explain it other than it's delicious. And this one that's called Storytime, and I bought 2 of them. So one is burning right there, and it smells so good. So I will link it below if you are in the US. And well, I think she ships somewhere else, but you know, if you're in the US, it's probably easier for you to get it. And you want to support a small business and you like candles, then I'm sorry, I didn't even say what it's called. It's Better Things Candles by Claire, and I highly recommend Storytime. It reminds me of something. It reminds me of something of my childhood, but I cannot pinpoint it. But it's something happy. So when I smell it, it just makes me happy. And let's go ahead and I have 3 podcast recommendations for you today. The first one is Anne from My North Knit Corner. She is from Norway, and Anne is absolutely delightful. She is a sweet person. I think we've been in more than one test knit together, Anne, maybe. I mean, I know that we were for sure in one for Penrose Knits, but I feel like we've been in another one together. So we've had more interaction there, but we've also just interacted overall because she watches my podcast and I watch hers. And Anne is a delight. I love you, Anne. She's so sweet. So if you want to go check her out, she's very kind of like soft-spoken and very calm, and you know, she's always apologizing because, you know, she has an accent, but I think you're totally clear. I totally get what you're saying, and I don't mind. I love accents. I have an accent. I don't mind. So yeah, she made a bunch of stuff. This latest episode, she was like a machine. She made so many things. So yeah, and she finished no frills that looks beautiful. That I'm like, with like, she hand dyed the yarn herself with like speckles, and it looks really cute. The other one is Potter and Bloom. You probably know her. I feel like I mentioned her last time, mostly because I made her, the 24-day socks are from her. Her name is Emma, and I didn't know about this podcast. She already has like over 10,000 subscribers, I think, or more than that. And she is so much fun. She posts weekly, and she's one of the few ones that post weekly that I enjoy. There's 3 that I enjoy, and she's one of them. And so it's kind of exciting to see a new podcast. She's hilarious. I think she's great. She loves bright colors, brighter than what I wear or make, but I love watching her make those things. So Emma's great. And the last one is Knitting in Labradors. This is a brand new podcast that started this year. I think she started the first one either right after Christmas or the beginning of January. Can't remember exactly. And her name is Karen. and she's from Scotland. Emma's from England. Anna's from Norway, and Karen is from Scotland. And she's so sweet. She is a new mom and she loves socks. So if you like watching socks, she loves making lots of socks, and she's really, really fun. She's a new podcast. If you want to go and support a new podcaster, she's also she was very shy about her accent because it's a strong Scottish accent, which I love. I have no problem. And you know, at the beginning she was like, well, there might be words that you won't know that I say, but only in Scotland people would know. I love that. I love that they are words that are specific, or sayings that are specific to a city, or a region, a country, a state. There are things that in North Carolina that people say that they don't say other places. I love it. I love it. I think we need to celebrate our differences just as much as we celebrate the things that bring us together, like our knitting. I love that something as simple as knitting can bring people together from all over the world, and then we get to celebrate the things that make us unique, which I love. So those are my 3 recommendations. I hope that you enjoyed this very, very long podcast. I have no idea how long it is, but if you're here still, thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being a part of our little corner in the internet. And I wish you the best weekend. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy knitting. Bye.